What is going on, boys and girls? Arsenal 3, Sunderland nil, and we are one step closer to becoming Premier League champions. Oh, honestly, you know what? I've been thinking a lot about it in the last kind of 24, 48 hours. I think as fans in general, we've allowed the negative noise and energy from rival fans and general media to really kind of dictate the way we've looked at this team this season. And look, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of things that I think Arsenal in general maybe haven't got completely right. And, there's definitely some arguments to be had about the style of football and certain signings and performances of certain players and the way we've approached certain games. But we can't argue with what this team's doing. We are top of the Premier League currently by 9 points. We're in the League Cup final. We finished top of the Champions League group stage, table stage, with a perfect 8 out of 8. And we are in the fourth round of the FA Cup. How can we be sitting here and being overly critical of the team? I just think that my mentality moving on from here is just going to be game by game and just trying to stay as positive as I can, because I think this team, what they need from us right now as fans is just our full-blown support. We just need to be on that train with them and ride it all the way home and see what we can achieve, because I do genuinely believe that the fan base, and particularly obviously the match-going fans, I think they play a key role in the way this team performs. And I was really happy to see the crowd for this game really be up for it. This is typically one of those games where, at home against Sunderland, you'd expect it or almost forgive it to be a little bit on the quiet side, but I thought the crowd from minute one were really up for it, and I think that helped the players. So yeah, I'm just feeling really good right now, if I'm being honest. I just can't believe the position we're in, and I just hope that we can achieve something really, really special this season. I think you've got to give massive credit to Sunderland. I think Sunderland are probably one of the best newly promoted teams that I've seen in a very long time. They can be resilient, rigid, defensively sound when they need to be, but they can also play football. And I think in that first half, they played some really good stuff. In those first few minutes, Arsenal looked like they wanted to start fast, which was nice to see, because that's not always the case with Arsenal this season. But I thought Sunderland grew into the game after about 6 or 7 minutes. And I actually think, if you look at that first half, I think they more than held their own. I don't know if they got the better of us in that first half, but they played some good stuff. I think, to win 3-0 in any game in the Premier League is a decent effort. And that's now a 4-0 win against Leeds, a 3-0 win against Sunderland. And so, again, that criticism of us not scoring enough goals, we're starting to kind of put that to bed a little bit. I don't really know. I don't know where to start. Look, starting 11, I got that quite wrong. He went with Havertz in the 10, which is something that he's already done recently. He started Jesus up top, which is what I predicted. Madueke on the right, Trossard on the left, Zubi and Rice, and then the back line was as I expected. He went with Calafiori, who, look, if we go into individual performances, I thought Calafiori looked shocking. He looked worse, the worst player on the pitch by a country mile. And so I'm just going to put that down to the fact that he's going to be a bit rusty, having been out for quite a while. But that was one of his worst performances in his Arsenal career. I thought Saliba and Gabriel did pretty well, considering that that Sunderland number 9 is at Brobbery. He's a handful. I mean, he is a beast of a player. And I think all in all, Saliba and Gabriel did their job. Timber was solid as always. Zubimendi, that was a really great goal, and that's a huge goal. Going into half-time, going in at 0-0, I would have been nervous. I think Sunderland would have grown in confidence from that, and I think they would have really slowed down that second half, and the crowd could have got nervous, and that could have ended up being a really kind of nervy second half. So that first goal from Zubi just before half-time was massive. And what a strike. Like, the technique on that to keep that low arrowed into that far left corner, comes off the post, hits the right hand side netting, and it's just like an absolute stunner of a goal from Zubi. And he's chipped in with a few really good goals this season, which is what you want from a kind of playmaking number 6. So to go in at halftime 1-0 was really impressive. Other standout performers, Declan Rice. Declan Rice, I'm telling you right now, people, Declan Rice has changed the fortunes of Arsenal Football Club. From the moment he set foot into the Emirates Stadium and into this Arsenal team, he is the reason why we are so good. He does everything. He does absolutely everything. He never stops running. He's tracking back. He's intercepting play. He's breaking up play. He's driving forward. You know, he's got a goal in him. He speaks. He's non-stop talking on the field, telling people where to be, driving the standards up. He's just an exceptional player. He is, honestly, I know Odegaard's our captain, and I don't like talking about kind of, oh, Odegaard shouldn't be the captain, but in terms of like who sets the benchmark and who leads and drives this team forward on the field, you can see it's Declan Rice. It's all Declan Rice, and he's superb. I don't even want to think where we would be without him. I genuinely don't think we would be in this position that we've been in the last few seasons without Declan Rice. I think he is fundamental to everything we do, and I think any team in world football would be extremely lucky to have him in the centre of their midfield. He's an absolute baller, and I hope he gets all the credits that he deserves if we go on and win some big trophies this season, because he is a special player and character. I didn't think Havertz was particularly that special in this game in the 10 role. He had that one good chance in the first half where he tried to curl it into the top left corner. It was a decent effort, but you know, it was never really going in. But outside of that, look, I thought he had a little bit of, to be fair, he had some good link-up moments. And, you know, it was an okay performance, but I still would like to see Eze be given that 10 role. I don't think Havertz is a 10. I know he played 10 for Leverkusen, and he's looked good in that position in the Bundesliga, but I just think, you know, why go and spend 65 mil on Eze, who is a 10, and not play him there when Odegaard's not fit? I thought Madueke was pretty poor. My biggest issue with Madueke is he looks lively on the ball, but he just very rarely seems to actually produce anything when he's on the ball, and that's the problem. You know, even if it's just a simple pass back to Timber or back into midfield from the sideline, like he just can't even seem to keep the ball ticking over. You know, at least with Saka, even if he's got 3 men on him and he can't get a dangerous cross in or create something, he can at least get that pass back to a Timber or back to a Rice or an Odegaard and keep the game going. Whereas Madueke just can't seem to even do that. He just seems to always kind of end up giving the ball away or getting displaced off the ball. And so, yeah, it's hard because I think there's a player there, but at the moment I just don't think he's playing anywhere near the level that he needs to be playing, which is a shame. And I'm really hoping that Saka is back sooner rather than later, because I think that's a big loss for us with Madueke on the right. I thought Trossard played quite good. One of his better games in recent games. And, you know, Jesus, not his best performance, if we're being honest. Obviously, Gyökeres came on in the second half. And, look, you've got to give Gyökeres some props. I thought that was one of his better games. I thought his hold-up play was good. I think getting that early goal to take us 2-0 up, even though it was a poor first touch and the defender should have been quicker to that, you know, that was still a good finish given that he was falling down. And to put us 2-0 up, that was game over. And you could see his kind of confidence grew from there, and he wanted to get on the ball more. And what I found with Gyökeres recently is I think he's tried to step away from trying to fight the defenders and looking for those fouls. And now he seems to be like, okay, you're not going to give me the foul. I'm going to keep the ball, and I'm gonna find a way to pass it on to another player and kind of continue my run. And so he looks a lot more comfortable in possession. I thought he made a few good runs in this game. And yeah, it was just nice to see him kind of with some confidence, playing with some confidence. I thought Martinelli did really well when he came on as well. And I think Martinelli's quietly had quite a good season, particularly when you kind of factor in the fact that none of our attacking players have really kind of set the world on fire. I think Martinelli's been quite good this season. He looked really lively when he came on. I definitely think he is more deserving of a start in the next game than Madueke, for example, and it was his great run that led to Gyökeres's second goal and our third goal in injury time. Martinelli could have definitely scored that himself, so that was a very unselfish piece of play from him to let Gyökeres get a second goal. So yeah, all in all, it was just a really good, comfortable win from Arsenal in a match where there was a lot of pressure. You know, this was another one of those opportunities that I've spoken about recently whereby Arsenal had an opportunity to really kind of put a nail in the coffin, and this time they took it with both hands. And so now all the pressure is on Man City. Man City are now 9 points behind us going to Anfield today. And that's a huge task. That is a huge amount of pressure for City to be going into that game with. So Arsenal have done their job. We did what we needed to do. Clean sheet, which is amazing. And now it's over to Man City, and let's see what they're all about. I think you've got to give Arteta and the team praise. I mean, we are playing. I think I heard the commentator say in the game yesterday that we have played in 2026 so far. We have played every week. We've played a midweek game, so we're basically playing weekend, and we've just done that every week of 2026 so far. So that's a huge amount of football. The players that are coming in are doing what they need to do. We're doing it with injuries still. Like I don't think people are giving us enough credit for the amount of injuries we've actually had this season. Now, don't get me wrong. I know we've got a massive squad, but we've had key players out for pretty much the entire length of the season at different stages. And the players who have come in, although maybe not setting the world alight, they've just kept the rhythm going. And that's what you want from a squad. So, yeah, really positive day from Arsenal. It's feeling real now. It's feeling close. And if City lose against Liverpool, 9 points, that's a hell of a lead for us to be sitting on. And I've said it all along. My confidence not only comes from us, but it comes from the fact that I don't think City are anywhere near the City that they were a couple of seasons ago. And I think 9 points will be too much for them. And if we can continue to stretch that lead over the next few weeks, it might just allow us to start to refocus our energy a little bit on some of the other cups, i.e. Champions League and FA Cup and whatnot. So, yes, really positive weekend. I think we're all Liverpool fans for the next 24 hours, and let's see where we lie come Monday morning. So yeah, really positive performance. I'm very happy. Enjoy your Sunday, Gooners. I'll speak to you later. Bye.